This audiobook is a sacred transmission meant to reawaken the truth your soul has never forgotten. You'll discover that the universe has always been speaking to you, through whispers, signs, and sacred nudges. Manifest anything. Introduction. In your hands rests an ancient wisdom preserved through ages untold, waiting for this exact moment of discovery. These chapters hold more than mere words. They contain the vibrations of truth that have guided countless souls through the corridors of time. As you turn each page, you will find yourself remembering what your spirit has always known, that you are a creator, boundless and eternal. The knowledge contained within these sacred texts has been guarded by mystics who understood its power to transform. Now, as the world awakens to higher consciousness, these teachings emerge from their slumber, finding their way to those who are prepared to receive them. This manuscript speaks directly to the divine spark within you, that eternal flame that knows no limitation, no boundary, no impossibility. Through these teachings, you will rediscover your inherent power to shape reality itself, to call forth your desires from the fertile void of infinite possibility. What lies before you is not merely a collection of teachings, but a living transmission of energy that will reawaken your dormant abilities. Each word serves as a key, unlocking chambers of wisdom within your consciousness that have laid dormant, waiting for this precise moment of awakening. As you journey through these chapters, you will encounter ancient parables that mirror your own soul's journey. You will discover universal principles that have governed creation since time immemorial. You will be guided through sacred practices that will transform your understanding of reality itself. This text demands more than casual reading. It requires your full presence, your willingness to remember who you truly are. It asks you to set aside everything you think you know about the nature of reality and open yourself to truths that transcend ordinary understanding. The journey ahead will challenge your beliefs, expand your consciousness, and restore your awareness of your own divine nature. What awaits you is nothing less than total transformation, if you are ready to receive it. Part 1. The Awakening of the Hidden Power Within. Chapter 1. The First Whisper. In the quiet hills of a forgotten valley lived Walter, an elderly watchmaker whose nights were visited by an extraordinary dream. In his slumber, he witnessed a staircase of pure light, materializing before him whenever his heart chose faith over uncertainty. Each step gleamed brighter as his trust deepened, leading him towards something his soul recognized but his mind could not name. The universe speaks first in whispers, soft stirrings that brush against your consciousness like leaves in a gentle wind. These divine murmurs arrive as subtle signs, a persistent thought that won't release its hold, a chance meeting that feels charged with meaning, or a yearning that echoes in the quiet moments of your day. When you begin to notice these whispers, you activate the ancient mechanism of manifestation. Your awareness is the key that unlocks the door to creation. The moment you recognize these gentle nudges from the universe, you initiate a sacred dialogue with the infinite. These whispers are not random. They are the first brushstrokes of your destiny painting itself into existence. They come as divine invitations, asking you to remember your power to create. In the bustling halls of an inner-city school, Martha taught mathematics for 20 years. Each day, she felt a subtle urging to share more than equations, to touch the hearts of her students in ways her curriculum never allowed. When she finally honored these gentle promptings, remarkable shifts occurred. A spontaneous story she shared inspired a struggling student to persevere. A kind word spoken from intuition reached a child in perfect timing. Following these subtle guidelines, Martha watched as Grace orchestrated events beyond her planning. Just as Martha discovered the magic of heeding these internal promptings, you too have been receiving guidance all along. Think back to those moments when something inside you knew without explanation, knew without evidence. Those were not mere coincidences or random thoughts. They were the universe speaking directly to your soul, inviting you to step into your power as a conscious creator. Now find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and allow your breath to become soft and regular. Let your awareness drift back through the corridors of your memory. Recall 3 distinct moments when you felt that gentle nudge, that knowing whisper. Perhaps it was a persistent idea that wouldn't leave you, an unexpected opportunity that called to your heart, or a chance encounter that felt significant beyond reason. Take your journal and write down these 3 whispers. Describe how they felt, what they were calling you toward, and whether you followed their guidance. If you did, what unfolded? If you didn't, what might have been trying to emerge in your life? Let your writing flow without judgment, allowing the wisdom of these past whispers to illuminate your present path. Chapter 2. The Law That Shapes All Things. In a small coastal village, young Franklin stumbled upon an extraordinary compass within his grandfather's study. Unlike ordinary instruments that sought the magnetic north, this one possessed a peculiar quality. Its golden needle responded to the magnetic pull of his thoughts. When fear gripped his heart, the needle pointed toward shadowy corners. When joy filled his mind, it swung toward sunlit windows. Through this mystical device, Franklin began to understand a truth as old as time itself. The law of attraction moves through your life with the same unwavering consistency as gravity. It does not judge, negotiate, or play favorites. Like Franklin's compass, it simply responds to the magnetic force of your predominant thoughts and beliefs. This is not merely about positive thinking. It is about the deep current of conviction that runs beneath your conscious mind. Your world is a mirror, reflecting back the essence of your inner state with perfect precision. When you truly grasp this principle, blame dissolves into understanding. The circumstances you encounter are not random acts of fate, but echoes of your own consciousness. The universe is not working against you. It is working exactly according to your deepest beliefs about life, about yourself, about what is possible. In a quiet neighborhood across town lived Edith, whose life had become a shadow of isolation after losing her beloved husband. Each morning she would wake to the same empty house, until one day she discovered an ancient text speaking of the power of assumption. With nothing to lose, she began a subtle experiment. Instead of assuming loneliness would be her constant companion, she started her days imagining warmth and connection awaiting her. At first, the changes were barely perceptible: a friendly exchange at the market, an unexpected call from an old friend. But as Edith persisted in her new way of thinking, life began to reshape itself around her transformed expectations. The neighbor she had always thought unfriendly brought her fresh-baked bread. A community garden group invited her to join their weekly gatherings. Her world gradually filled with the very connections she had begun to assume were possible. This sacred law that Edith discovered is at work in your life right now. Every moment, your emotional state broadcasts a signal into the universe, and like a faithful echo, life responds in kind. The power to reshape your reality lies not in forcing change through action alone, but in altering the invisible blueprint of your assumptions. For the next day, become a witness to your own consciousness. Notice the emotional current that runs through your hours. What feelings color your morning? What beliefs tint your afternoon? What assumptions shape your encounters with others? Record these observations, not with judgment, but with the curiosity of a scientist studying a natural phenomenon. Then observe how your external experiences align with these inner states. You are about to witness the law of attraction at work in the laboratory of your own life. Chapter 3: You are not who you think you are. In the depths of an ancient forest, young Henry wandered upon a peculiar sight. Between two towering oaks stood a mirror, its surface gleaming with an otherworldly light. As he approached, expecting to see his familiar reflection, he witnessed something extraordinary. A radiant light emanating from within himself, pure and boundless. You have lived believing you are the sum of your experiences, achievements, and limitations. Yet this identity you cling to is but a temporary garment, worn for this earthly journey. Beneath the layers of doubt, fear, and accumulated beliefs lies your true essence, a divine spark of the infinite intelligence that created worlds. This light you carry is not earned or learned, it is your birthright, your original state of being. The universe did not send forth a fragment of itself to live in limitation, but to experience the joy of remembrance, the ecstasy of awakening to its own magnificence through you. In a quiet village, Clara discovered this truth through a simple yet powerful practice. Each morning, as dawn painted the sky, she stood before her mirror and spoke words that resonated with her soul's knowing. At first, her voice trembled with doubt, but day by day, something shifted. The words, "I am worthy," transformed from mere sounds into living truth. "I am powerful," ceased to feel like a pretense and became a statement of recognition. "I am divine" no longer seemed blasphemous but natural, like remembering something long forgotten. As weeks passed, Clara noticed subtle changes. Her posture straightened, her voice carried authority, and opportunities began appearing as if summoned by her newfound certainty. She had not changed who she was. She had simply removed the veils that had hidden her true nature. Your journey mirrors Clara's awakening. The divine light Henry witnessed in the forest mirror shines just as brightly within you. It awaits only your recognition, your willingness to cast aside the false identities you have accumulated. Ancient practice of divine recognition. Find a quiet moment before your mirror, a sacred space where truth can emerge unfiltered. Let your gaze soften until you look past the surface reflection, beyond the temporary vessel to the eternal essence within. Allow your eyes to rest gently, neither focusing nor straining, until the boundary between observer and observed begins to dissolve. Speak these declarations with the authority of your soul, letting each word resonate from the depths of your being. I am divine light expressing in form. I have unlimited potential in motion. I am one with the infinite power that creates worlds. Let each statement wash over you like waves of remembrance, awakening the dormant knowledge of your true nature. Feel the vibration of these words in every cell of your body, for they are not mere affirmations but revelations of what has always been true. Chapter 4: The Mirror of the World. In the bustling markets of an ancient city, a merchant named Elias received an unusual gift from a mysterious traveler, a mirror unlike any other. At first he marveled at its strange reflections, showing him moments yet to unfold. He saw himself discovering a lost coin before it happened, meeting an old friend before they appeared, finding shelter just as rain began to fall. Yet as the days passed, Elias noticed something peculiar. The mirror only showed what he already anticipated. When he expected misfortune, the mirror darkened with shadows of coming troubles. When his heart lifted with optimism, the glass sparkled with promising visions. You live in a universe that operates on principles far more intricate than the physical laws you were taught. The world you perceive is not projecting itself upon you. It is responding to the projections of your consciousness. Every circumstance, every encounter, every twist of fate emerges from the depths of your own expectations. This truth lies at the heart of all creation. Reality is not happening to you. It is happening from you. Your consciousness is the foundation upon which your experiences build themselves. The outer world, in all its complexity, is but an echo of your inner state. In a small town, June discovered this principle through an unexpected path. Each month, as bills arrived in her mailbox, she would feel the familiar grip of scarcity tightening around her heart. Then one day, she chose differently. Instead of seeing each bill as a burden, she began treating them as symbols of abundance, evidence that she lived in a world rich with services, conveniences, and opportunities to give and receive. At first, this shift felt artificial, almost foolish. But as she maintained this new perspective, subtle changes began occurring. Unexpected opportunities arose. Old debts resolved themselves in surprising ways. The very flow of resources in her life began to shift, not because the world had changed, but because she had altered the lens through which she viewed it. Your world mirrors your consciousness with unfailing accuracy. When you understand this, you hold the key to transformation. Every condition in your life traces back to a corresponding state within you. This is not about blame. It is about power. For in recognizing this truth, you reclaim your role as the author of your experience. Practice. Find a quiet moment and bring to mind one situation that repeatedly appears in your life. It might be a financial pattern, a relationship dynamic, or a recurring challenge. Close your eyes and trace this condition back to its source within your consciousness. What belief or expectation have you been holding that this situation reflects? Write this insight in your journal, understanding that in identifying this inner cause, you take the first step toward transformation. Chapter 5. Time is not the gatekeeper. In a quiet corner of an ancient library, Ruth discovered a peculiar leather-bound book tucked between dusty volumes. Each evening she would write her imaginings in its chapters, only to find them manifested in the world the following day. At first, she believed the book held some mystical power, until she realized a deeper truth. The power had always resided within her consciousness. You stand now at the threshold of understanding one of the universe's most guarded secrets. Time is not the master of manifestation. The belief that desires must unfold through a linear progression of moments is perhaps the greatest illusion binding humanity to limitation. When you plant a seed of intention in the fertile soil of consciousness, it does not require time to grow. It requires alignment. The universe responds not to the calendar, but to the resonance of your being. This is why some desires manifest instantly while others seem to linger in the realm of waiting. The present moment contains all possibilities, all timelines, all potential manifestations. It is your point of power, the only point of power. When you shift your consciousness, you shift dimensions of experience. The future you desire exists now, waiting to be claimed through the authority of your alignment. In a small village, Carl understood this principle through his own remarkable journey. For years he had waited for healing, marking time with doctor's visits and endless treatments. Then one morning he ceased waiting. He rose from his bed and began living as though wholeness was his present reality. He walked differently, spoke differently, breathed differently, not as one hoping for health, but as one embodying it. His body, following the command of his consciousness, began to align with this new vibrational reality. What medical science had deemed impossible transformed through the power of his present moment alignment. Carl had discovered that healing need not follow time's arrow. It follows consciousness. The practice of choose 1 hour today, making it a sacred window of transformation. In this hallowed time, step fully and completely into the reality where your desire already exists, where what you seek has already manifested. Move through space as though you are already the person you wish to become, letting every gesture and breath reflect this truth. Let your words carry the vibrant energy of fulfillment. Your thoughts shine with the light of completion rather than dim with wanting. Watch your posture naturally align with this elevated state. Your eyes sparkle with the knowing of achievement. Your smile radiates the joy of attainment. This is not pretense or mere imagination, it is quantum alignment, a profound shifting of energy patterns, collapsing time through the power of consciousness itself. In this hour, you become a living bridge between what was and what is, between seeking and finding. Chapter 6, The Thought That Becomes Flesh. In a garden untouched by mortal hands, Agnes walked among invisible flowers. Each night she would close her eyes and plant seeds of pure thought into the fertile soil of consciousness. By morning, her mental garden had manifested into physical reality. Roses where there were none, lilies springing from bare earth, abundance flowing from emptiness. You now approach a truth that has remained veiled through ages. Every thought held with unwavering focus becomes a template for physical creation. The universe does not distinguish between what you imagine and what you experience. It responds to the vibration of your mental pictures with exact precision. When you grasp this principle fully, you understand that manifestation requires no physical strain. It is not through labor that desires materialize, but through the sustained impression of thought upon the universal substance. Your mind is the craftsman, and consciousness is the material from which all things are fashioned. Consider Robert, whose business ventures had repeatedly crumbled despite years of relentless effort. Yet in his darkest hour, he discovered the ancient way. Instead of struggling against circumstances, he held an unshakable vision of success in his mind. Each morning and night, he would immerse himself in the feeling of achievement, letting it permeate every cell of his being. He ceased fighting the current of life and instead became the current itself. Within months, opportunities aligned effortlessly, doors opened without pushing, and his vision materialized with a grace that no amount of physical striving could have achieved. His journey mirrors an eternal truth. The mountain moves not by the force of your hands, but by the power of your thoughts. When you understand this law, you cease exhausting yourself with action and begin creating through consciousness. Practice. As you retire this evening, write your deepest desire in the present tense, as though it exists now. For 5 minutes, close your eyes and allow yourself to be fully immersed in the reality of its fulfillment. Feel the emotions that would accompany its presence in your life. Let every detail become vivid and alive within your mind. This is not mere imagination. It is the act of impressing your desire upon the universal substance from which all things emerge. Breathe deeply and let your entire being resonate with the truth of its completion. Notice the subtle shifts in your body as you embrace this new reality. Perhaps a lightness in your chest, a warmth in your heart, or a gentle smile playing upon your lips. Before you drift into sleep, give thanks for this manifestation as though it has already been received, for in the realm of pure consciousness, Time is but an illusion, and what you claim with absolute faith must inevitably express itself in your physical world. Chapter 7. The Sacred Observer. In a small village where time seemed to flow like honey, there lived a seamstress named Lillian. One morning, she discovered a mysterious spool of thread upon her workbench, shimmering with an otherworldly gleam. As she began to sew, she noticed something extraordinary. The thread would only weave patterns of exquisite beauty when her mind was as still as a mountain lake. When thoughts rushed through her consciousness like autumn winds, the thread would tangle and knot. But in moments of pure presence, when her mind settled into silence, the thread would flow through the fabric like liquid starlight, creating designs more magnificent than any mortal hand could devise. Through this sacred gift, you now unveil a truth known to masters throughout the ages. True power emerges not from the churning waters of thought, but from the depths of stillness within. The mind, when caught in its endless stream of commentary, obscures your natural ability to create and manifest. Yet when you step back into the role of the silent observer, the eternal witness, you reclaim your position as master of thought and feeling. This inner witness is your true nature, the unchanging awareness behind all experience. From this vantage point, you need not control or suppress the mind's activity. You simply watch as clouds pass through an infinite sky. Thomas, a merchant troubled by endless worry, discovered this truth through an unexpected turn of fate. For years, his mind had spun tales of future calamities, each thought breeding more anxiety than the last. One day, exhausted by this internal storm, he simply stopped, not to fight his thoughts, but to watch them. In that space of pure observation, he noticed something remarkable. His thoughts, like shadows in sunlight, began to lose their power. He saw them for what they were, merely thoughts, not truth. From this new perspective, peace descended naturally, not as something gained, but as something remembered. This ancient practice of witnessing reveals that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness in which thoughts arise and dissolve. In this space of pure consciousness, manifestation flows naturally, unobstructed by mental resistance. Practice. Set a timer for 3 minutes, twice daily, once as the sun rises, once as it sets. Sit in perfect stillness and observe the parade of thoughts as they pass through your awareness. Make no attempt to change or judge them, simply witness. Notice how, in the space of pure observation, a deeper power awakens, the power of your true self, the eternal witness. Through this sacred practice, you will begin to sense the vast ocean of consciousness that lies beneath the surface waves of thought. As you maintain this discipline day after day, you'll discover that the morning and evening hours hold a special potency, times when the veil between the material and spiritual realms grows thin. In these moments of quiet observation, your awareness naturally expands, revealing the boundless nature of your true identity. Remember, you need not strain or struggle. The wisdom you seek already dwells within. By simply remaining still and watchful, you allow this ancient knowledge to surface naturally, like a lotus rising from the depths to bloom in the light of pure awareness. Chapter 8. The Frequency of Receiving. In a quiet valley where wisdom whispers through ancient trees, Dorothy discovered an extraordinary radio. Unlike ordinary devices that captured sound waves, this mystical instrument responded only to the frequencies of the heart. As she turned its golden dial, she found that different emotional states produced different manifestations in her life. Joy brought unexpected gifts, while worry attracted precisely what she feared. You must understand this eternal truth. The universe operates through resonance, not request. Your desires do not manifest through the strength of your wanting, but through the harmony of your being. Like attracts like, this is the foundational law that governs all creation. When you yearn for abundance while harboring thoughts of lack, you create discord in the universal frequency. When you seek love while emanating fear, you misalign with your desire's vibration. The secret lies not in perfecting your requests, but in mastering your inner state. Consider Harold, a painter who lived in the mountains. For years he struggled to sell his artwork, constantly worrying about financial security. Then he discovered an ancient teaching. Success flows not to those who chase it, but to those who embody it. Harold began spending his mornings in pure appreciation, feeling the joy of creativity regardless of sales. He painted with delight rather than desperation. Within months, collectors began seeking his work, drawn by the very energy he had cultivated. Harold's journey mirrors a universal principle. What you seek must first be found within. He did not receive because he asked, he received because he became. His story teaches that manifestation follows being, not the other way around. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed, a sacred corner where your inner work can flourish undisturbed. Close your eyes and choose one reality you wish to manifest. Perhaps abundance, love, or creative fulfillment. Now, rather than focusing on its absence or yearning for what is not yet visible, immerse yourself fully in the feeling of already having it. Let your heart overflow with gratitude and joy as though your desire has already manifested. For 10 minutes, let every cell of your being vibrate with the emotion this manifestation brings. Feel the warmth of accomplishment, the peace of attainment, the pure delight of receiving. Feel it as deeply as if it were already yours. This is not mere pretending or wishful thinking. It is aligning with a truth that exists in the eternal now, connecting with the reality that already exists in the infinite field of all possibility. Chapter 9. The Invisible Choice. In the depths of night, Margaret found herself standing where dream and destiny intertwined. Before her stretched 4 paths, each shimmering with possibility. As she gazed down each road, reality shifted like liquid light, showing her not just outcomes but the power of choice itself. With each thought, with each subtle lean toward or away, entire worlds formed and dissolved. You stand at such crossroads every moment, though your physical eyes may not perceive them. Each thought is a choice, each belief a direction, each moment pregnant with infinite potential. The universe does not simply respond to your actions, it responds to the invisible choices that precede them. When you choose belief over doubt, even before taking a single step, forces beyond your understanding begin to align. When you choose trust over fear, even in the silence of your own mind, the fabric of reality begins to shift. These are not mere psychological states, they are cosmic directions, threads in the grand tapestry of creation. In the sacred halls of an ancient monastery, Glenn discovered this truth. For years, he had lived in the shadow of not yet and if only. But one morning, gazing at the rising sun, he made a choice that would alter his destiny. He chose to say yes to his own power. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances changed, but in that very moment. No external circumstance had shifted, yet everything changed. Opportunities that had been invisible suddenly appeared. People who could aid his journey seemed to cross his path at precisely the right moment. What appeared as luck to others was simply the natural unfolding of his inner choice. Your life, too, stands ready to transform through the power of conscious choice. Each moment offers a new beginning, a fresh opportunity to align with your power, rather than your limitations. The question is not whether you have this ability, it is whether you will choose to embrace it. Sacred practice. As you move through your day, create sacred pauses before decisions both large and small. In these moments of stillness, ask yourself, which choice aligns with my true power? Feel the resonance of each option. Notice which choice expands your energy and which contracts it. Then, act from that place of knowing. This is not merely decision-making, it is conscious creation. Let your breath deepen as you enter these sacred moments of choice. Feel how your body responds to each possibility before you. When you consider an option that aligns with your highest good, you may notice a subtle warmth in your chest, a lightness in your being, or a quiet certainty that transcends logic. Conversely, choices that lead away from your power may create tension, heaviness, or an inexplicable desire to look away from the truth. Trust these subtle signals. They are the universe speaking through your own divine wisdom. Make this practice a cornerstone of your daily life, for it is through these conscious choices that you weave the tapestry of your destiny. Each decision, however small, is a thread in the greater pattern of your becoming. Choose with awareness and watch as your life transforms through the accumulated power of conscious creation. Chapter 10: The Hidden Doorway. In the depths of a dream that felt more real than waking, Benedict discovered a peculiar key resting in his palm. It was not fashioned of ordinary metal, but seemed to be made of pure light. As he held it, he understood instinctively that this key was not meant for any earthly lock. When he brought it toward his temple, it dissolved into golden light, and suddenly the boundaries between what is and what could be melted away. Through this sacred gateway, you now step into understanding of imagination's true nature. What you have called imagination is not mere fantasy or escape. It is the original substance from which all creation springs forth. Before there were worlds, there was divine imagination. Before there was form, there was the sacred vision held in the mind of the infinite. When you enter the temple of imagination, you access the same creative force that birthed galaxies. This power does not belong to some distant deity. It flows through you, as you. Your imagination is not a childish playground, but the workshop of the divine. Here, in this hallowed space, what you envision with feeling and faith begins its journey into form. In the quiet hills of a small village, Evelyn discovered this truth. Each night she would sit in her modest room and allow her imagination to soar beyond her circumstances. She did not merely picture a better life, she lived it in the sacred space of her mind. She felt the textures of her desired reality, breathed its air, walked its paths. She understood that she was not escaping reality but creating it anew. Day by day, her outer world began to shift, matching the inner vision she held with such clarity and conviction. What others called coincidence, she recognized as the natural emergence of what had already been created in the realm of pure potential. Her life transformed not through force or struggle, but through the faithful use of this divine gift of imagination. Your own imagination awaits your recognition. It is not a tool for idle dreaming, but the very forge where reality is shaped. Every great achievement, every work of art, every transformation began first in this sacred space. Practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, create a sacred moment of stillness. Close your eyes and envision a doorway of light before you. Feel the anticipation building as you approach it. As you step through, allow yourself to fully enter the reality you desire to create. Touch the objects there. Feel the emotions, hear the sounds. Let every sense awaken to this experience. Remain in this space, knowing that what you experience here contains the seed of its own manifestation. This is not visualization, it is visitation to the realm where all possibilities dwell. Part 2, Unlocking the Sacred Mechanics of Manifestation. Chapter 11. The Formula of the Forgotten Masters. In the dimly lit workshop of an ancient city, Elijah's hands trembled as he examined the mysterious timepiece before him. His trained eye noticed something unusual within its intricate mechanisms, golden letters catching the lamplight, forming words that seemed to pulse with their own luminescence. Believe, see, receive. You now stand at the threshold of understanding one of the most sacred sequences known to those who have mastered the art of manifestation. This trinity of power has echoed through temples and whispered through mystery schools since time immemorial. It is not merely a formula, but a reflection of the universe's own creative process. First comes belief, the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. When you truly believe, you align with the creative force of the universe itself. This is not mere positive thinking, but a deep knowing that transcends doubt. It is the state from which all miracles spring. Next emerges vision, the focused direction of creative energy. Through clear, unwavering vision, you paint upon the canvas of infinite possibility. This seeing goes beyond the physical eye. It is the soul's recognition of what must be. Finally comes reception, the divine art of allowing manifestation to take form. This is not passive waiting, but active acceptance. It is standing in the certainty that what has been believed and seen must, by universal law, materialize. In a small village by the sea, Winona discovered this golden sequence. Each morning, she would sit in quiet communion with these principles. She began with absolute belief in her heart's calling, seeing it with crystal clarity in her mind's eye and opening herself to receive with unwavering faith. Day by day, her reality began to shift, not through force or struggle, but through this sacred alignment. What once seemed like distant dreams began materializing in ways both subtle and profound. Opportunities appeared, paths opened, and circumstances arranged themselves in perfect order. She understood that she had not simply stumbled upon a technique. She had awakened to a universal law that had been operating all along. Practice. Take a moment now to write down one pure desire of your heart. Then, enter into this sacred sequence. First, declare your absolute belief in its manifestation, feeling the truth of it in every cell of your being. Next, see it with such clarity that it feels more real than your present circumstances. Finally, open yourself to receive, knowing that what you have believed and seen must come into form. Practice this sequence daily, treating it not as a mental exercise but as communion with universal law. Chapter 12. Emotion. In a time beyond memory, Jasper wandered the ancient roads with nothing but a small pack and his verses. One evening, an elderly mystic presented him with a curious lantern, its metal worn by countless hands. "This light responds not to oil," the mystic whispered, "but to the fire within. You must understand that the universe speaks the language of feeling." When Jasper first held the lantern, its flame remained dim despite his clever words and practiced recitations. Only when he spoke from the depths of his heart did the lantern burst into brilliant light, illuminating the darkness around him. This truth lies at the heart of all manifestation. Thought alone is but a skeleton. Emotion gives it flesh. Your desires must burn within you. They must stir your soul and quicken your breath. The universe responds not to lukewarm wishes, but to the sacred fire of genuine feeling. Consider how water transforms into steam. It requires not just warmth, but intense heat. So too must your intentions be raised to the temperature of transformation. When thought and feeling unite with such intensity, the veil between seen and unseen grows thin. In a distant valley lived Hazel, who maintained a pleasant smile, while an ocean of unexpressed grief lay frozen within her. She sought joy but found only hollow echoes, until a wise woman taught her that buried sorrow creates barriers no light can penetrate. As Hazel finally allowed herself to feel the full depth of her loss, something extraordinary occurred. Her tears became a river that carried away the very walls holding back her joy. Your own path to manifestation requires this same courage to feel deeply. The emotions you avoid become the very obstacles to your desires. When you embrace the full spectrum of your feelings, you unlock the power to transform your reality. Practice. Take your current heart's desire and write it a letter as though it is already manifested. Let every word carry the weight of your deepest emotion. Write until you feel the stirring in your chest, until your hand trembles slightly with the truth of what you're expressing. This is not an exercise in writing, it is an invocation of the sacred fire within you. Pour your gratitude onto the page as though your desire stands before you now, fully realized. Allow your tears to flow if they come, for they are the waters of transformation. Speak to your manifestation with the intimacy of a lover, the joy of a child, and the wisdom of an ancient soul who knows that what is written with pure feeling must, by universal law, come to pass. When you have finished, seal the letter with a kiss and keep it close to your heart, knowing that the seeds of manifestation have already been planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Chapter 13. Imagination is the hidden world. In the heart of an ancient village lived Miriam, whose needle and thread danced across fabric with otherworldly grace. One moonlit evening, as she sketched a garden of roses upon silk, she discovered that each flower she stitched appeared in her courtyard by morning. With trembling hands, she began to understand. Her imagination was not merely creating pictures, but weaving reality itself. You must grasp this eternal truth. Imagination is the first movement of creation. It is not a flight of fancy, but the sacred workshop where the divine shapes tomorrow. When you truly understand this, you will see that every great achievement, every marvel of human creation existed first in the unseen realm of imagination. The universe operates through this immutable law. All that is visible must first pass through the gateway of the invisible. Your imagination is not separate from reality. It is the very foundation upon which reality builds itself. When you close your eyes and envision your desires with clarity, you are not dreaming, you are creating. Wallace, a humble man with calloused hands, understood this truth. Each night, he would sit in silence, constructing his future empire within his mind. He saw every detail, the towering walls, the elegant archways, the bustling corridors. While others saw only empty land, Wallace walked through his completed vision in his mind's eye. Stone by stone, his physical reality began to mirror his inner blueprint, until what once existed only in imagination stood manifest before all. Your imagination is not a child's playground. It is your divine inheritance, the sacred tool through which you participate in creation itself. When you imagine with purpose and clarity, you are engaging in the highest form of creativity. The universe does not distinguish between what you hold in your mind and what you hold in your hands. It responds to both with equal power. Practice and in perfect stillness, devote 10 minutes to seeing your desired life with absolute clarity. Notice every detail, the sounds, the feelings, the atmosphere. Immerse yourself in the subtle textures of this vision until it feels more real than your present circumstances. Let your consciousness dwell in that sacred space where possibility transforms into certainty. Then, take pen to paper and record this vision as though writing about a memory that has already come to pass. Pour your heart into each word, describing not just the outer circumstances, but the inner state of joy and fulfillment that accompanies them. Let your words carry the weight of certainty, for what you have imagined has already begun its journey into form. This act of recording anchors your vision in the physical world, creating a bridge between the realm of pure potential and manifest reality. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Magnetic Word. In a village among ancient hills, Sylvia discovered that her voice held more than melody. It carried the power of creation itself. Each morning, as she sang to the rising sun, her notes would shimmer in the air before materializing into physical form. A song of abundance brought forth golden wheat in barren fields. A melody of healing caused withered plants to bloom anew. You stand now at the threshold of understanding one of the most powerful laws of manifestation, the creative force of the spoken word. Your words are not mere sounds disappearing into the air. They are vibrational instructions to the universe itself. When you speak, you send forth waves of creative energy that shape the very fabric of your reality. This truth lies at the heart of all creation. Words carry codes that program the field of infinite possibility. Each time you speak, you are commanding energy to take form. The universe does not distinguish between casual speech and intentional declaration. It responds to all words with equal precision. What you consistently speak with emotional conviction becomes law in your personal universe. Arthur, a merchant who had lost everything, discovered this truth in the depths of his despair. He began each dawn by declaring with unwavering certainty, "I am prosperity itself. Abundance flows to me naturally." At first, nothing seemed to change, yet he persisted, infusing each word with absolute conviction. Gradually, new opportunities emerged. Lost connections renewed themselves. Resources appeared from unexpected sources. Within months, his reality had transformed to match his declarations. You must understand, every moment of every day, you are making declarations about your life. Whether conscious or unconscious, your words are shaping your tomorrow. The choice lies before you. Will you continue speaking unconsciously, letting circumstances dictate your declarations? Or will you take command of this power, choosing words that align with your highest vision? The practice. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed, a sacred sanctuary where your words can resonate with pure intention. Create 3 powerful I am statements that embody your deepest desires, declarations that speak to the essence of who you truly wish to become. Make them bold. Make them clear, yet ensure they flow naturally from your heart. Speak them aloud each morning and evening, filling each word with absolute conviction as though you were announcing eternal truths to the universe itself. Feel the truth of these statements in your very being. Let them sink into your bones and flow through your blood. Let your voice carry the certainty of one who knows their words are already manifest. For in the realm of spirit, your declarations exist in their completed form. This is not mere repetition. It is a sacred declaration, a ritual of transformation that bridges the gap between what is and what shall be. Chapter 15. Detachment is Dominion. In a sunlit studio high above the bustling streets, Beatrice stood before her canvas, brush trembling in her grip. For years, she had struggled to capture the visions that danced in her mind, forcing each stroke with precise determination. Yet her paintings remained lifeless, mere shadows of what she imagined. Then one morning, exhausted from trying, she simply let her hand move as it wished. In that moment of surrender, something extraordinary occurred. Colors flowed with a life of their own, creating patterns more beautiful than any she had consciously designed. Her masterpiece emerged not from control, but from trust. You now approach one of the most subtle and powerful truths of manifestation, the art of divine detachment. This is not the detachment of indifference or resignation, but rather the supreme confidence that allows you to plant a seed and step away, knowing it will bloom in its perfect season. When you grasp too tightly at what you desire, you create resistance in the very field meant to deliver it. Your attachment becomes a force that pushes away what you seek to draw near. True mastery lies in the ability to hold your vision with clarity while releasing all anxiety about its manifestation. Calvin, a merchant, spent years pursuing wealth with desperate intensity. Each venture failed, each opportunity slipped away, until the day he found peace with his present circumstance. He continued his work, but without the burning need that had consumed him. Within months, prosperity flowed effortlessly into his life. His story mirrors an eternal truth. What you chase often eludes you, while what you release in faith has space to find you. This is not about abandoning your desires, but rather elevating them from desperate wishes to calm knowing. The universe operates through perfect law, not through force. When you release your grip on the how and when, you allow infinite intelligence to orchestrate circumstances far beyond what your limited perspective can conceive. Sacred practice. Take a moment now to write your heart's desire on a slip of paper. Hold it in your hands and infuse it with your blessing. Place it in an envelope and write upon it, "Already done." Seal it with the knowledge that universal forces are already at work. For the next 24 hours, let it rest undisturbed. In this act of sacred release, you demonstrate mastery over attachment and activate the law of divine timing. Chapter 16. The Shadow of Doubt. In a small cottage among ancient oaks, Dorothy received a peculiar gift, a black candle unlike any other. As shadows danced across her walls each evening, she noticed how the flame responded not to air currents, but to the currents of her mind. Each time uncertainty crept in, the flame would shrink, as if reflecting the dimming of her inner light. Through this sacred instrument, you now encounter a fundamental truth. Doubt is not your enemy, but a messenger pointing toward deeper faith. When you resist doubt, you give it power. When you embrace it as part of your journey, it transforms from obstacle to ally. The universe operates through perfect law, and this law cares nothing for your doubts. Just as the sun rises whether you believe it will or not, the law of manifestation continues its work despite momentary uncertainty. Your role is not to eliminate doubt, but to persist despite it. Leon, a writer, once battled an inner voice that questioned every word he wrote. Rather than wage war with this critic, he began a practice of sacred repetition. Each morning he would acknowledge his doubts, then gently redirect his focus to what he knew to be true. "These words flow through me," he would say, even as uncertainty whispered otherwise. Gradually his doubts lost their sting, not because they vanished, but because he learned to hold his vision with greater strength. Your faith need not be perfect. It need only be present. Like a muscle strengthening through use, your belief grows more resilient each time you choose it over doubt. The black candle teaches what mystics have known through ages. Darkness makes the light more visible. When doubt appears, see it as a sacred invitation to realign with truth. Let it remind you to return to your center where all power resides, for it is not the absence of doubt that creates miracles, but the presence of persistent faith. Practice. Each time doubt arises today, speak aloud. Even now, it is working in my favor. Log each moment in a small notebook as a ritual of faith. Let this practice become your sacred reminder that every challenge serves your highest good. As you document these moments of uncertainty, watch how they transform from obstacles into stepping stones. Your notebook becomes a testament to your growing faith, each entry marking another victory of trust over fear. In time, you will find these recorded moments tell a story not of doubt, but of your unwavering commitment to truth. Chapter 17. The Energy Ritual. In a secluded valley where most clings to ancient stones, Clifford tended his garden with uncommon devotion. Each morning, as golden light pierced the dawn, he would stand among his flowers and sing, not with trained precision, but with pure gratitude. What unfolded before him defied natural law. Buds that should have taken weeks to open would unfurl beneath the melody of his thankfulness, blooming in radiant response to his energy. Through Clifford's discovery, you now touch upon a truth kept sacred through ages. Manifestation flows not through thought alone, but through the living current of energy you offer to the universe. When you unite breath, movement, and focused intention, you create a channel through which the infinite can flow. This practice transcends mere visualization. It is an ancient art of alignment, where your entire being becomes an instrument of creation. As you breathe deeply, your body becomes a temple of transformation. As you move with purpose, you conduct universal energy. As you hold vision with unwavering focus, you paint upon the canvas of reality itself. June, a teacher, discovered this truth through her own sacred practice. Each morning, before the world stirred, she would stand in her garden. With one hand over her heart, she would breathe deeply, allowing her body to sway gently like a tree in the wind. In this state of energetic alignment, she would hold her vision, not as a distant wish, but as a living reality coursing through her very cells. Within days, signs began appearing. Books would fall open to exactly the page she needed. Strangers would speak words that answered her unspoken questions. Opportunities arose as if summoned by her aligned energy. Her experience reveals that when you shift from passive hoping to active energetic engagement, the universe responds in kind. The practice of find a quiet space as the sun rises, when the veil between worlds is thinnest and universal energy flows most freely. Place your hand over your heart and breathe deeply 3 times, allowing each breath to cleanse and align your being. Allow your body to move as it wishes while holding your desire clearly in mind, perhaps swaying like a reed in the wind, or making small circles that mirror the eternal motion of creation. Feel the reality of it in every cell, letting the vibration of your intention ripple through your entire being until there is no separation between you and your vision. Then become completely still for 2 minutes, as if listening to the universe's response, knowing that in this sacred silence, divine wisdom speaks most clearly. This is not merely a ritual. It is a communion with the creative force itself, an ancient practice of aligning your personal energy with the infinite power that shapes worlds. Chapter 18, Desire Without Need. In a forgotten grove where ancient trees whisper secrets of manifestation, Lawrence discovered a well unlike any other. Its waters shimmered with an otherworldly light, but its true magic lay in a simple truth. Only those who approached with pure joy, never desperation, would see their wishes take form. Through Lawrence's discovery, you now touch upon one of the most sacred principles of manifestation, the nature of holy desire. This is not the wanting that springs from lack, but the pure longing that flows from wholeness. When you reach for something from a space of emptiness, you only magnetize more emptiness. But when your desire springs from joy, from an overflow of what already is, you activate a divine principle of attraction. The universe responds not to need, but to resonance, like attracts like in the great cosmic dance. When you stand before the well of creation with a heart already full, your desires become not desperate pleas, but joyful invitations to expand what already exists. Annie, a writer living in the city, embodied this truth without knowing it. For years she had sought love from a place of loneliness, each attempt leaving her more depleted. Then one day, she stopped. Instead of seeking love, she began living it. She wrote love letters to herself. She treated strangers with genuine warmth. She danced alone in her apartment, celebrating the love already present in her life. Something shifted in her energy. No longer was she a seeker of love, but a source of it. Within months, she met someone who matched this new frequency. Not because she needed them, but because she had become a magnet for the love she already embodied. Your desires are sacred. They are not evidence of what you lack, but whispers of what you are becoming. When you approach manifestation from this understanding, everything changes. You no longer chase what you want. You attract it by becoming its living embodiment. The practice. Take a moment now to examine one current desire that burns within your heart. Rather than focusing on its absence or yearning for what is not yet manifest, identify 3 distinct ways you already experience or embody this reality in your life today. Look deeply, for the universe has already planted the seeds of your future abundance in the garden of your present moment. Write these 3 manifestations down with sincere gratitude, acknowledging that the seed of your desire's fulfillment already exists within your present experience. Feel how this truth resonates in your very being. This is not an exercise in pretense or wishful thinking, but a recognition of the eternal truth. What you seek is already seeking you, calling to you through the whispers of your current reality. In recognizing these present blessings, you amplify their power and invite their multiplication in your life. Chapter 19. Signs, Symbols, and Synchronicity. High in a mountain village where time seemed to move differently, lived Gerald, a master clockmaker whose life changed when he noticed an unusual pattern. Each day, as the sun reached its zenith, a crow would land upon his workshop window. At first, he paid it little mind, until he realized that every idea that crossed his mind at the moment of its call transformed into unexpected prosperity. You now approach a vital truth of manifestation. The universe speaks in a language far more subtle than words. Every moment carries a message, every coincidence conceals guidance, and what appears as chance is often divine choreography. The world around you is alive with meaning, waiting to be interpreted by those who have eyes to see. When 3 black feathers appear in your path, when the same number flashes across multiple screens, when a particular song plays at precisely the right moment, these are not random events. They are threads in the tapestry of universal communication, signs pointing toward your highest alignment. Emily, a young artist, discovered this truth through a sequence of repeating numbers that appeared everywhere she looked: 1111 on clocks, $11.11 on receipts, 111 in phone numbers. Instead of dismissing these as coincidence, she began following their trail. Each time she noticed the pattern, she paid attention to her thoughts in that moment, to the direction she was facing, to the ideas that were forming. This awareness led her to apply for a position she might have overlooked, which unveiled her life's work as an art therapist for children. The universe's language is both personal and universal. What appears as a crow to one might manifest as a butterfly to another. The key lies not in seeking specific signs, but in remaining open to the unique way the universe communicates with you. These signs often appear most strongly when you stand at a crossroads, when you're aligned with your path, or when you need confirmation of your direction. They are not meant to eliminate your free will, but to illuminate the way forward. The practice: create a sign journal. For 7 days, record every synchronicity you encounter. Note repeated numbers, meaningful coincidences, recurring symbols, and dreams that feel significant. Write down not just what you observe, but what you were thinking or doing when each sign appeared. This practice will attune you to the subtle language of the universe and reveal patterns you may have missed before. Chapter 20. The Eye That Sees the Unseen. In the heart of an ancient city lived Sylvester, a harpist whose fingers danced with extraordinary grace across his strings. Though his eyes had never known light, he perceived melodies that others could not, harmonies that seemed to float from the very fabric of creation. As he played in grand halls and humble homes alike, those present witnessed something remarkable. The very atmosphere would transform, shimmering with unseen potential. You are now approaching one of the most sacred mysteries of manifestation. Faith is not the absence of sight, but the presence of vision. It is not blind hope, but rather a knowing so deep it transcends physical evidence. Like Sylvester's ability to perceive music beyond the audible spectrum, true faith allows you to sense the reality of things not yet manifested in form. This power has always resided within you. When you align with a truth beyond physical sight, you activate forces that begin arranging circumstances in harmony with your inner vision. The universe responds not to what your eyes can see, but to what your consciousness knows to be true. In a small coastal town, Della held fast to a vision that seemed impossible to others. Despite empty bank accounts and countless rejections, she maintained an unwavering inner picture of her success. She spoke of her dream as though it already existed, walked as though it was already accomplished, and gave thanks for it as though it was already done. Then, in what appeared to others as a sudden shift, everything aligned. What they could not see were the invisible bridges her faith had been building all along. This is the deeper truth. Faith is not hoping against hope. It is knowing beyond doubt. It is not denying current circumstances, but rather holding steady to a higher vision regardless of appearances. Like a master sculptor who sees the finished masterpiece within the untouched stone, you must learn to trust the reality of what you cannot yet see. The practice. Take a blank page and write a detailed description of your desired reality in the present tense, as if it is already manifested. Include specific details that engage all your senses. Begin each sentence with phrases like, "I am so grateful that," or "I now experience." Read this passage upon waking and before sleep, not as a wish, but as an acknowledgement of what is already true in the unseen realm. Do this without seeking proof or validation, knowing that your faith itself is the bridge to manifestation. Part 3. Mastery of the Unseen Forces. Chapter 21. Manifestation Without Limits. In the heart of a forgotten valley lived Clara, whose hands once trembled with the weight of unpaid bills and empty cupboards. Each morning, she would wake to heal others while her own life remained bound by lack. Yet something stirred within her soul, a whisper that spoke of possibilities beyond mere survival. One night, as moonlight painted silver patterns on her worn floorboards, Clara made a decision that would alter the fabric of her reality. Instead of asking for just enough, she began to imagine without limits. She saw herself in a sanctuary of healing, helping thousands. She felt the abundance flowing through her life like a mighty river. She dreamed not of pennies, but of prosperity that would touch countless lives. As she released the chains of realistic thinking, the universe responded with swift precision. First came the unexpected client who connected her to a wellness center. Then arrived the invitation to speak at international conferences. Soon her healing practice transformed into a global movement, touching lives across continents. What others saw as miraculous, Clara recognized as the natural unfoldment of unlimited thinking. You must understand this truth. The universe knows no hierarchy of difficulty. Whether you desire to heal a headache or transform 1,000 lives, the same infinite power responds. Your role is not to measure what is possible, but to align with the boundless nature of creation itself. Eugene's story illuminates this principle further. For years he carried the weight of childhood trauma, believing his path was forever marked by those early wounds. But in a moment of profound insight, he realized he could heal not just his present, but his entire timeline. As he began imagining himself whole, not just moving forward, but transformed at every point in his story, something remarkable occurred. The pain that had seemed etched into his being began to dissolve. His relationships healed, his career soared, and even his memories began to lose their sting, replaced by a sense of divine purpose in every step of his journey. You see, the power you hold is not bound by time, space, or circumstance. The same force that creates galaxies flows through your consciousness, waiting to express through your expanded vision. When you release the artificial boundaries of what you believe possible, you allow this infinite power to work without restriction. The practice. Take a quiet moment to yourself. On a clean sheet of paper, write down 3 desires you have dismissed as too much. Perhaps a vision that made you laugh at its audacity, or a dream you tucked away as impossible. Face each one squarely on the page, then, standing tall, speak these words with the full authority of your being. Nothing is too big for the infinite in me. Feel the truth of these words in every cell of your body. Let them dissolve every boundary you have placed around what is possible in your life. Chapter 22. The Law Beneath All Laws. In a time beyond memory, Matilda dwelled among ancient texts in a library forgotten by the world. Each morning, she would trace her fingers across weathered manuscripts, seeking wisdom in their yellowed chapters. Until one day, buried beneath centuries of dust, she discovered a scroll that would unveil the deepest secret of creation. The scroll spoke not of techniques or methods, but of a singular truth that underlies all manifestation. Being precedes having. This eternal principle reveals why some succeed effortlessly, while others struggle despite their efforts. You see, the universe responds not to what you want, but to what you are. When you understand this law, you realize that trying to attract something while remaining separate from it creates the very distance you seek to overcome. It is not enough to desire freedom, abundance, or love. You must become these qualities in your very essence. Consider how water doesn't try to flow. It simply flows itself. The sun doesn't attempt to shine. It is radiance embodied. In the same way, your manifestations arise naturally when you shift from wanting to being. Albert's story illuminates this truth perfectly. For years, he sought freedom through external changes, new jobs, locations, relationships. Yet with each change, the sensation of being trapped followed him like a shadow. Then one day, while reading an ancient text much like this one, he grasped the deeper truth. Freedom was not something to pursue, but to embody. He began moving through his days as freedom itself. His walk became lighter, his breath deeper, his decisions more aligned with his inner truth. He stopped seeking permission and began living from his sovereign nature. Within weeks, opportunities arose that perfectly matched his new state of being. His business restructured itself around his natural rhythms. Relationships transformed to honor his authenticity, and life began flowing with an ease he had never known. Your power lies not in what you do, but in who you are being while you do it. Every manifestation is simply an outer reflection of your inner state of being. When you shift from seeking to embodying, from wanting to becoming, the universe has no choice but to reshape itself around your new vibration. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and ask yourself with full presence, who must I become to receive what I seek? Let the answer arise from your depths, not your mind. Write down every quality, characteristic, and way of being that emerges. Then, begin living from this elevated state of being, letting your actions flow naturally from this new identity. Chapter 23. The Alchemy of Identity. In a quiet village where time seemed to flow like gentle streams, Pearl sat at her wooden workbench, threading her needle with golden silk. She had always crafted garments for others, but one morning, guided by an inner whisper, she began creating clothes for a version of herself that existed in her dreams. Elegant dresses for speaking engagements, refined suits for business meetings, flowing gowns for celebrations yet to come. As she wore these garments, something remarkable transpired. The clothes weren't merely fabric and thread. They were vessels of transformation. With each piece she donned, Pearl noticed herself standing taller, speaking with more authority, making decisions with unwavering confidence. The outer form had awakened the inner truth. You see, manifestation flows not from endless doing or ceaseless wanting, but from the simple act of being. When you embody the energy of what you seek, the universe cannot help but mirror it back to you. This is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering who you have always been beneath the veil of limitation. Lewis understood this principle intimately. Working as a modest shopkeeper, he felt called to teach and inspire others. Instead of waiting for circumstances to change, he began moving through his days as the teacher he knew himself to be. He spoke with wisdom and patience, carried himself with quiet dignity, and made choices aligned with this deeper identity. Within weeks, opportunities began appearing. First small speaking engagements, then workshops, finally his own center for learning. The outer world had no choice but to reorganize itself around his embodied truth. His transformation reminds you that reality must conform to your conscious identity. It is law. Sacred practice. Take a blank page and write out a detailed schedule for one day in the life of your manifested self, not as you currently are, but as the person you know yourself to be at your highest potential. Include how they wake up, what morning rituals they practice, what nourishing foods they choose to eat, how they dress and carry themselves with dignity, whom they meet, and how they impact others' lives, what meaningful decisions they make that align with their deepest purpose. Make this schedule specific and vivid, allowing no detail to escape your conscious creation. Then tomorrow, live that exact schedule as though it were the most natural thing in the world. Move through space with the grace of your realized self. Speak words that carry wisdom and authority, and make choices that reflect your expanded consciousness. Let your being, your embodied state of awareness, precede and call forth your having. For what you consistently be, you must inevitably receive. Chapter 24. The Unmanifested Realm. In a village untouched by the rush of modern life, a young girl named Esther walked barefoot through morning dew, speaking of things unseen. Her eyes held wisdom beyond her years as she told tales of a mystical garden where dreams waited like seeds in fertile soil, ready to sprout at the perfect alignment of belief and reception. This sacred truth now opens before you. All that you desire already exists. In the invisible realm where thought shapes reality, your dreams are not distant hopes. They are present possibilities awaiting your recognition. The garden Esther spoke of exists in the space between breaths, in the quantum field where all outcomes simultaneously exist. Time, you see, is not a rigid line but a malleable illusion. When you step into the awareness of eternal now, manifestation needs no schedule. The universe operates in the immediate. It is only human doubt that creates the perception of delay. Young George discovered this truth one autumn morning. Rather than seeing each moment as a step toward something, he began treating every instant as a doorway through which abundance could flow. When bills arrived, he smiled, knowing prosperity was already present. When challenges emerged, he welcomed them as disguised gifts. His life transformed not through years of effort, but through immediate shifts in perception. As he walked through his days, George maintained unwavering awareness that the unseen was constantly materializing into form. He stopped waiting for miracles and began expecting them. Soon, synchronicities multiplied, opportunities appeared spontaneously, and what once seemed like future possibilities began manifesting with startling speed. His story mirrors your own potential. You need not wait for time to deliver your goods. It is available now, waiting in the garden of infinite possibility. Your role is simply to recognize it, claim it, and allow it to materialize through your unwavering acceptance of its presence. Practice. Begin each morning declaring, "Today I collapse time. What is mine comes swiftly, easily, and now." Feel these words resonating through your entire being as you speak them. Let them become more than mere sounds. Transform them into living energy that ripples through the fabric of your reality. Make this declaration your first conscious act each day, before doubt or mundane concerns can cloud your mind. This simple yet profound practice aligns you with the timeless flow of universal abundance where all possibilities exist simultaneously in the eternal now. Chapter 25. Commanding the Elements. In a hidden valley where ancient wisdom still whispers through the leaves, Florence tended her garden of sacred herbs. One misty dawn, while organizing her weathered shelves, she discovered a leather-bound tome that seemed to pulse with living knowledge. As she opened its chapters, golden script revealed the elemental symphony that orchestrates all creation. You too hold this sacred knowledge within. The elements are not mere forces of nature, they are the very essence of your manifesting power. Earth grounds your intentions, water flows with your emotions, fire ignites your declarations, air carries your breath of life, and ether holds the infinite space where all possibilities dwell. When you align with these primal forces, manifestation accelerates beyond ordinary understanding. Your thoughts become as solid as earth. Your emotions flow like pure streams. Your words spark with creative fire. Your breath dances with divine air, and your spirit expands into limitless ether. Victor, a humble craftsman, discovered this truth through ancient ritual. Each morning, he would plant his bare feet upon the earth, feeling its steady strength. He would sip water with reverence, knowing it carried his emotional clarity. His spoken words became flames of creation, his conscious breathing opened channels of possibility, and in moments of pure stillness, he touched the infinite. Within days, his life began shifting. Opportunities arose as naturally as flowers breaking through soil. Resources flowed like spring waters. His words carried the power of transformation. His presence radiated peace, and the universe seemed to bend toward his aligned being. The elements are not tools to be used. They are aspects of your divine nature waiting to be remembered. When you honor them, you honor the fullness of your creative power. Sacred practice. Stand barefoot upon the earth each morning, feeling its solid support beneath you. Let the ground's ancient wisdom flow upward through your feet, grounding you in timeless strength. Take 3 sips of water, blessing each with gratitude, allowing its flowing nature to remind you of abundance's endless stream. Speak your truth with the passion of sacred fire, letting your words carry the creative force that shapes reality itself. Draw 3 deep breaths, knowing they carry life force, feeling the invisible power of air as it fills your being with divine light. Then sit in perfect stillness, becoming one with the infinite ether, allowing yourself to merge with the vast consciousness that connects all things. Let each element remind you of your wholeness, your power, your divine nature. In this sacred communion with the elements, you remember that you are not separate from their essence, you are their living expression in human form. Chapter 26. The Moment of Alignment. High in the mountains where silence speaks louder than words, Ava lived in perfect communion with universal truth. Through years of meditation, she uncovered a secret that would transform your understanding of manifestation forever: the power of sacred convergence. You have been taught many methods, practiced countless techniques, but now you approach the heart of creation itself. When thought, emotion, and certainty align, even for a single breath, reality bends to your consciousness. This is not about duration or repetition. It is about achieving one perfect moment of alignment where all aspects of your being unite in harmony. In this state, you transcend the illusion of time. Your desire, belief, and knowing become one force, pure, undiluted, absolute. This is the space where miracles are born, where the impossible becomes inevitable. Norman, a merchant plagued by chronic pain, discovered this truth unexpectedly. During one moment of complete surrender, his thoughts of wholeness, feelings of vitality, and unwavering certainty merged into a single point of pure consciousness. In that instant, decades of suffering dissolved. His healing wasn't gradual, it was immediate, complete, eternal. His experience reveals that when alignment is perfect, transformation requires no time. You now stand before the same gateway. The power to reshape reality lies not in endless repetition, but in achieving one moment of perfect unity. When thought, emotion, and certainty converge, you touch the infinite. This is the sacred space where all creation begins. Sacred practice. Create a sanctuary of silence. For 5 sacred minutes each day, sit in perfect stillness, letting the noise of the world fade into nothingness. Bring your chosen desire into focus, seeing it with the clarity of pure intention. Let your thought of it be crystal clear, as though carved in eternal stone, your emotion pure and unwavering like a flame that knows only how to rise upward, your certainty absolute as the sun that never doubts its own rising. Allow these 3 streams, thought, feeling, and knowing, to merge into one mighty river of consciousness, flowing with unstoppable force toward manifestation. This is not meditation, it is sacred convergence, a divine alchemy where the elements of creation unite. One moment in this space, this holy temple of perfect alignment, holds more power than 1,000 scattered efforts. Here, in the depths of sacred silence, you touch the infinite source from which all manifestation springs forth. Chapter 27. The Flash of Creation. In a quiet workshop filled with half-finished inventions, Delilah sat in perfect stillness. Unlike her usual method of gradual development, her greatest creation arrived in a single flash, not through effort, but through absolute certainty. In that moment, every detail, every component aligned with crystal clarity. By sunset, what had existed only in consciousness stood manifest before her. You now approach a sacred truth. Manifestation need not unfold gradually. When consciousness achieves perfect unity, when doubt dissolves completely, creation occurs in an instant. This is not magic, but natural law. Just as lightning bridges heaven and earth in a single stroke, your aligned consciousness bridges the unseen and seen realms immediately. The holy instant occurs when thought, feeling, and knowing merge into one force. In this state, there is no gap between desire and fulfillment. Time collapses. What you hold in consciousness must materialize, for consciousness is the only substance from which all form emerges. Martin discovered this truth during a moment of financial crisis. After weeks of worry, he experienced a sudden shift, a moment where his consciousness unified completely around abundance. There was no pleading, no desperate hoping. Instead, a calm knowing filled his being. Within hours, an unexpected client appeared, offering payment that exceeded his immediate needs. This was no coincidence. The flash of manifestation follows the flash of certainty as naturally as thunder follows lightning. When you achieve this state, the universe has no choice but to respond, for you have aligned with its fundamental nature, instant creation. The key lies not in duration, but in totality. A single moment of complete alignment carries more power than years of partial focus. This is why some see results instantly, while others wait endlessly. The difference lies not in worthiness, but in unity of consciousness. Sacred practice. Choose one specific outcome that calls to your deepest truth. For an entire day, from dawn until dusk, hold unwavering certainty about its manifestation. Not hope, not wishful thinking, not even strong belief, but absolute knowing. As surely as you know the sun will rise tomorrow or that water flows downhill. Let this knowing permeate every cell of your being, every breath you take, every step you walk. Watch in sacred wonder how swiftly the world rearranges itself to match your unified consciousness. For when you achieve this state of perfect alignment, you become as one with the creative force itself. Chapter 28, Wealth Through Alignment. In a sunlit studio apartment, Genevieve stood before her latest painting, a small bowl of coins at her feet. Each morning she would pick up each coin, hold it to her heart, and whisper words of gratitude. "You are pure energy flowing through my life as a blessing," she would say. What began as a simple ritual transformed her relationship with money entirely. You must understand that wealth is not a measure of what you gather, but a reflection of what you emanate. When Genevieve blessed each dollar with genuine joy, she altered her energetic signature. She was no longer trying to get money, she was becoming one with its natural flow. The universe responds not to your desires for wealth, but to your relationship with it. When you view money through the lens of lack, struggle, or unworthiness, you create resistance in its flow. But when you align with the truth, that abundance is your natural state, you open the floodgates of prosperity. Silas, a merchant who had known both feast and famine, discovered this truth through an unexpected path. Instead of focusing on accumulating wealth, he began giving with an open heart. Each time he shared, he felt more abundant. Each time he released attachment to money, it returned multiplied. He had stumbled upon a universal law: generosity creates flow. His story mirrors an eternal truth. Abundance is not about holding tight, but holding the frequency of unlimited supply. When you embody the energy of wealth, gratitude, joy, generosity, you become a natural conduit for its expression. The ancient practice throughout this day approach every financial exchange as a sacred ceremony, an ancient ritual of energy transfer that has existed since the dawn of commerce. Whether giving or receiving, paying a bill or accepting payment, bless each transaction with these words: "Money is energy and it flows back to me multiplied." Feel the truth of these words vibrating in your body, resonating through every cell. Let them reshape your deepest beliefs and transform your relationship with abundance. Notice how this practice shifts your energy from scarcity to flow, from fear to trust. This is not mere ritual. It is energetic realignment with the infinite flow of universal supply, a remembrance of your natural state of prosperity. Each blessed exchange reinforces your connection to the eternal stream of abundance that has always existed, waiting for you to step into its flow. Chapter 29, Love as the Ultimate Magnet. In the heart of a small village, Nina attended births not just with her hands, but with an encompassing love that seemed to ease every labor. One night, as she sat with an anxious mother-to-be, she discovered something extraordinary. The more she poured pure love into the room, expecting nothing, attempting to control nothing, the more grace flowed through every moment. You must understand that love is the original force of creation. It is not the grasping, needing kind of love that most mistake it for, but the boundless giving that expects no return. When you approach manifestation from this frequency, you transcend the very need that often blocks your desires. Love does not seek to acquire or achieve. It simply radiates. In this radiation, it naturally draws all things to itself. This is why those who master love find that their manifestations arrive with unprecedented ease. They have accessed the highest frequency in the universe. Consider Jonah, who had spent years trying to force changes in his life through sheer will. Everything shifted the day he began speaking to himself with genuine love and compassion. Instead of criticizing his perceived flaws, he embraced them. Rather than pushing for transformation, he loved himself exactly as he was. What followed was remarkable. His business flourished without strain. Relationships healed themselves. Opportunities appeared as if by magic. He had discovered what mystics have always known. Love is not just an emotion. It is the ultimate creator. You see, when you love yourself completely, you align with the very force that birthed universes. You no longer need to chase or grasp. Your energy becomes magnetic, drawing to you all that resonates with your highest good. Practice. Stand before a mirror in complete privacy, creating a sacred space for this intimate ritual. Take a piece of paper and write a love letter to yourself, acknowledging your divine nature, your inherent worthiness, and your infinite potential. Pour your heart into each word, expressing the deep appreciation you would offer to someone you cherish completely. Read these words aloud with tenderness and conviction, allowing each one to penetrate deeply into your being. Look into your own eyes as you speak, recognizing the eternal light that dwells within. Receive these words as truth from the highest source, knowing they reflect the universe's unwavering love for you. Let this moment serve as a testament to your own divinity, a recognition of the boundless power that has always resided in your soul. Chapter 30. The Forgotten Creator. In the depths of a moonlit valley, Marion wandered without memory of her true identity. Each night she gazed at the stars, sensing they held a truth just beyond her grasp. One evening, as she stood beneath the celestial expanse, the stars aligned to form a perfect mirror. In their reflection, she saw not just her face, but her eternal essence. She was the oracle, the knower, the divine itself. You have walked a similar path through these chapters, gathering wisdom like shattered starlight. Yet now, in this final revelation, you stand at the threshold of the deepest truth. You are not merely learning these principles, you are their source. Every teaching, every practice, every sacred law has been guiding you back to this remembrance. The power you sought was never outside you. The divine force you wished to align with flows through your very being. You are not attracting reality, you are creating it. Your thoughts, your feelings, your state of being are not tools to reach some distant force. They are the force itself, expressed through your unique form. Edmund, a humble gardener, spent years studying spiritual texts and seeking enlightenment until one morning, while watching the sunrise, understanding dawned within him. He realized he was not separate from the creative force he had been pursuing. His every thought, every breath, was the universe expressing itself. In that moment, his life transformed from one of seeking to one of knowing. Like Edmund, you now stand at this sacred junction of remembrance. The journey through this book has not been about acquiring new knowledge, but about stripping away the veils that obscured your true nature. You are the creator disguised as the seeker, the infinite playing at being finite, the source pretending to search. This is your moment of divine recognition. As you close these chapters, you step into your true identity as a conscious creator, wielding the very power that births worlds. You are not merely working with the law of attraction, you are the law itself in expression. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space outdoors. Remove your shoes and stand barefoot upon the earth. Place your hand over your heart, feeling its steady rhythm. With full awareness of your divine nature, speak these words aloud. I am the Creator. I manifest with the mind of the divine. Let this declaration be not just words, but a full remembrance of who you have always been. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion: this book is not a book. It is a mirror. What you have read is not new. It is remembered. The truths shared were never secrets, only forgotten codes buried beneath the noise of doubt and delay. Through each chapter, each teaching, each sacred practice, you have not been learning, you have been remembering. You came to these chapters seeking answers, but what you found was your own reflection. The parables were not mere stories. They were echoes of your own potential. The practices were not techniques. They were keys unlocking what was always within you. Every word served as a bridge back to your original power. Now that you have walked this path from awakening to mastery, you carry within you the power to manifest anything, not as a trick, but as your birthright. The universe does not respond to you, it expresses through you. The divine has no greater tool than your own being. This wisdom you now hold is both ancient and immediate, timeless and present. It flows through you as naturally as breath, as powerfully as the tides. You are not merely a student of these principles. You are their living embodiment. You are not finished. This ending is a beginning. You are now a carrier of this wisdom, a keeper of the mystery, a living testament to what happens when one aligns with truth. Your life becomes the next parable, your manifestations the next teaching. May this be the first of many creations. For in recognizing your true nature as divine creator, you have not reached a destination, you have remembered your origin. The power was never in these chapters. It was in the one who turned them. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.